Drone footage. Ukrainian 68th Brigade blow up Russian military vehicle in Javelin missile strike. Russia mobilized an extra 300,000 military reservists earlier this week by way of retaliation to the last month of prolific Ukrainian counterattacks. Footage has been released on social media of the Ukrainian 68th Brigade destroying a Russian military truck. Drone footage showed the Russian truck, with a mounted Zu-23-2 gun, struck by a Javelin ATGM launched by personnel of the Ukrainian force. The truck can be seen attempting to flee before it is struck by the missile. The vehicle then explodes into a fireball, with smoke billowing from its immobilized frame. It comes as the British military confirmed that Russian forces had destroyed a dam on the Seversky River amid accusations that the Russians are recruiting discriminately from ethnic minorities. Russia struck the Pechenik Dam on the Seversky Donets River in northeast Ukraine this week using short-range ballistic missiles or similar weapons, the British military said on Saturday. The attack on September 21st and 22nd followed an earlier one on the Karachunsky Dam near Kryvyi Rih in central Ukraine on September 15th, the Defense Ministry said in its daily intelligence bulletin, adding that Ukrainian forces are advancing further downstream along both rivers. Russian commanders may be attempting to strike sluice gates of the dams in order to flood Ukrainian military crossing points, the ministry said in its bulletin released on Twitter. The attacks are unlikely to have caused significant disruption to Ukrainian operations due to distance between damaged dams and combat zones, according to the ministry. Meanwhile, in Buryatia, a mostly rural region wrapped around the southern shore of Lake Baikal, the Russian mobilization has seen some men drafted regardless of their age, military record, or medical history, according to interviews with local residents, rights activists, and even statements by local officials. Buryat rights activists suspect that the burden of the mobilization and the war itself is falling on poor, ethnic minority regions to avoid triggering popular anger in the capital Moscow, which is 6,000 kilometers, 3,700 miles away. Putin always underscores that Russia, where hundreds of ethnic groups have lived for centuries alongside the majority Slav population, is a multi-ethnic state and that soldiers of any ethnicity are heroes if they fight for Russia. Shortly after Putin announced the mobilization on Wednesday, Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said it was not for all citizens, just for military reservists who have previously served in the Russian army and have combat experience or specialized military skills. Such was the outcry over the mobilization in Buryatia, though, that Governor Alexei Tsaidanov on Friday issued a statement clarifying that those who had not served in the army or who had medical exemptions would not be mobilized, though he admitted that some draft notices had been given to such men. Mr. Tsaidanov wrote on Telegram, since this morning, 70 such people who had received summons were sent home, both from mustering points and from military units. If mistakes were made, he said, people should simply inform the representatives of the military enlistment office at the collection point with supporting documents. There's nothing partial about the mobilization in Buryatia, said Alexandra Garmazapova, president of the Free Buryatia Foundation, an organization that provides legal help to those mobilized. They are taking everyone. Her foundation collected hundreds of appeals for help from residents whose relatives had received mobilization papers. Many of them were over 40 and had medical conditions that should disqualify them from service, she said. Between 4,000 and 5,000 residents of the region were drafted in the first night of conscription, Garmazapova estimated. She said that in many cases, officials had distributed summons during the night. The independent news site Ljudi Baikala, People of Lake Baikal, calculated that between 6,000 and 7,000 people are likely to be mobilized, out of a total population of 978,000. One resident of the Beryatia village of Orangoy, whose population in 2010 was 1,700, said that 106 men from the village had been mobilized. That person declined to be identified.
Выстрел! Выстрел! Готов! Орудие! Орудие! 48-51 плюс.
Racket!